Lissa Claessens from Earthplay Studio, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make terra sigillata, which will give you a beautiful sheen on your pots after you've made them like this. After you've burnished them, they can come super shiny, or even without burnishing, like on the sculpture, you can get a beautiful sheen. So it's very simple to do. The recipe is 2 liters to 800 grams of dry clay. So you put it in and you mix it up. You can also put it in your blender and get it super mixed. And then to this 2 liters with 800 grams of dry clay, it can be any clay, it can be ball clay, it can be your normal working clay. You just need to let it slake. Then you need to add just over a teaspoon of sodium silicate, which will make it separate out so that the heavier particles will go to the bottom, and at the top you'll have the finest particles that will dry with this glassy sheen. So that just has to be mixed in. I'm going to wait for the clay to slake so that it will mix in properly. After about an hour, I'll give it a good stir, and then I have to leave it to stand for about 2 days before I can actually take siphon off the fine particles, which will be in the center of this. So we have the heavy particles at the bottom, and you'll have the water at the top, and the fine particles in the middle is what you will be able to siphon off and use as your paint. So just to give you an example, over here I have the terra sigillata for a different one. It's not the terracotta one, and this one you can see it looks like lanolin, or it looks very silky in the jar when it's the right consistency. Then you take your completely dry clay and you're going to just paint it on. So you're supposed to let it dry in between coats. It's already got a sheen. Then some people buff it up in between coats. As soon as it's dry enough to touch, you can buff it up. And then put your next coat. But it must be completely dry, bone dry, before you put your terra sigillata on. The clay must be bone dry. And it's just like magic. It's regarded as a sort of a cheat instead of burnishing. But if you do it in combination with burnishing, you get the most mirror-like finish. It's very beautiful. But because it's such a very fine layer of slip, it comes on very fine, and so it's very nice if you've got a textured surface or a decorated surface with little bumps on. It picks up those bumps, it doesn't hide them. Like a normal slip is quite thick, but this is a slip that's very thin and very fine. So before it dries completely, you need to do your buffing. Some people call this also burnishing, but it's actually buffing. Then, I don't know if you can see, it's a super shiny surface. So that's what I have to show you today. Your terra sigillata has been settling for 3 days, so now it's ready to siphon it off. So we're going to put this pipe in and put it to just above the hard sediment below and get it all out this section here. Okay, so to get your terra sigillata to the correct specific gravity, that's how dense it is, you've got to weigh 100 milliliters, and if that comes to 115 grams, then that's correct. Mine only weighs 100 grams, so I have to put it in the sun to evaporate some of the water off so that 100 milliliters weighs a bit more. If it was over 115 grams, then I would be adding a little bit of water and then keep reweighing it until it reached 115 grams. So at this stage, if I were to paint it on my pieces, it wouldn't give me a nice sheen. It just would be slightly waxy, but not perfect sheen. So when it's ready, you just paint it right on, but you've got to be careful of drips because the drips will show. So if you see a drip developing, just quickly mop it up with your paintbrush. You put on 3 very, very thin coats all around, and at the end of it, you buff it up with a soft cloth or a piece of plastic wrapped around a sponge. I'll show that to you in a minute. And that book over there, Terra Sigillata Contemporary Techniques, is a very good resource. It explains how to colour the Terra Sigillata and how to use it in other ways in your work. Right, as soon as you can feel that the slip is no longer wet, if there are any wet patches like that, you must wait for them to soak in before you buff it. But to buff it, you are going to either use a very soft velvety cloth or one of these cloths they sell for polishing your car. Or what works very well is a vegetable bag over a sponge like that. And you take your Terra Sigillata and you just rub it. It comes out as a beautiful shiny surface. And you just need to rub it once. I'll show you with this cloth. It also works beautifully. So you mustn't put the Terra Sigillata on more than 3 coats because then you'll have the danger of it flaking off later in the bisque firing. Must be very thin. And it just adds an extra layer of gloss to your burnished pot. But remember to apply it when it's bone dry. And there we have it.